So today I'm going to do an ebook haul. So I've never done an ebook haul that I can recall on my channel, mostly because up until the last year and a half, I mostly read physical books. I'd still read some things on my Kindle for sure, but I think over time I've just started reading more and more ebooks. I still love physical books, but I just haven't been buying as many, mostly just for practical reasons of space and money. But because I haven't been buying as many, I just haven't done an actual book haul in a while. So I thought it'd be fun to do an ebook haul. I love watching these from other people, and I find so many good books to add to my TBR. So hopefully I can give you some new ones to look up that won't cost you too much money. I am that person that I have a really hard time paying for any ebooks that are more than $3.99. It just kills me slowly. So there are some circumstances, where of course every once in a while I'll pay more, but for the most part, I try and keep them under that price. And I think most of the ones on here are that. So I'll kind of do this in a couple different sections. The first ones I'm going to talk about are ones that I bought. So they were mostly cheap or free. So the first one I wanted to talk about that I bought was Temporary Wife Temptation by J.C. Lee. This is the book I'm currently reading. I'm loving it. It's a marriage of convenience book, and it's so good so far. This one was on sale, and I checked. It's still on sale. I think it's sale, maybe it's a regular price for $1.99. I'm just really loving this author's writing. The back and forth between the two main characters is really good. This one is just right up my alley, and I'm really enjoying it. The next one I bought was Reborn Yesterday by Tessa Bailey. This is one that I've kind of had my eye on for a while. I love this cover. It's paranormal, it has vampires, it's kind of been all over, and it's one of the ones that's definitely on my list I want to get to really soon. This one I believe I also paid $1.99 for. I'm not positive if this one is still $1.99 though, so definitely give that a check, but definitely excited to read that one. The next book I bought was Luca Vitilio, I think that's how you say it, by Cora Riley. So I don't think I've talked about it yet, but it'll be in my next recent reads, but I started reading her, oh gosh, it's her Mafia series. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I read the first 3 books in that series, and I kind of have a little bit of mixed feelings on it, to be honest. I'll talk about it more in the wrap up, but I did really like our first couple, which was Aria and Luca. And so this book that I bought was, because the rest of the series is in KU, but this book just came out, and it's actually the first book in Luca's perspective. And I'm really a sucker if I enjoy a couple to see it from the guy's perspective. So I think I paid $3.99 for this one, and I know it just came out, so if you've read that book and want to see it, check that one out. But yeah, I'll talk more about it in the wrap up, but that series, I don't know, I have some interesting feelings about it, but I'm excited to try out that one. And the next one I bought was Zenny by Rebecca Weatherspoon. I read Rafe, which I also did purchase, so I bought that one as well, and I loved that one. I already read that one, so I figured I'd get the second book because Zenny is Sloane's best friend in the first book in Rafe, and sorry, I got distracted. There is a truck outside very close to the house. Also, I forgot to mention that I am in a different location because I'm out of town, but I wanted to get a couple things filmed. So in case you're wondering why I'm in this room and not in front of my books, that's why. I completely forgot to say that before in the last video. But anyways, I bought Zenny. Everyone's been reading it and really liking it, so I'm excited for that one. The last one I bought was The Bride Test by Helen Huang. I feel like I'm the last person on earth to read this book. I have not read it. I did read The Kiss Quotient when it first came out and really enjoyed it. I just hadn't got to this one yet, but my best friend and a lot of other people love this book, say it's fantastic. So when I saw it on sale, it's still on sale now too for $1.99. I went ahead and snapped it up because that way I have it. I have no excuses but to get to it, so hopefully that'll be something I get to really soon. The next 3 books are actually ones I saw Bree from In Love and Words talk about because she does really good ebook hauls. Definitely, if you aren't already, go subscribe and watch her ebook hauls. But she talked about a few different books, and I kind of went through and looked at the ones that I was interested in, and I believe all of these are still free, or at least they were free when I downloaded them. So the first one is Playing to Win by Macy Monroe. I believe this is a new adult college set sports romance, and I think it's kind of your stereotypical he's the jock, she's the nerd, but I am still such a fan of that. I know it's kind of in some ways really predictable, but I just still fall trap for it every time. So I wanted to give that one a go. The next one was The Darkest Hour by Lexi Timms, and this one I don't know much about other than what she said, which basically was I think it's a bodyguard, like he's trying to watch out for a heroine. Don't really know much, but it was free, so I was willing to take a chance on it. And I do really like bodyguard romances. I've only read a couple, but the ones I have read I've really liked. And kind of following with that, I also downloaded Protecting the Heiress by Nana Malone. So I have not read anything by Nana Malone yet, but I see her books pop up all the time. So I'm really interested to try something. And this one, I believe it was free, and also I believe it's a bodyguard romance. So that to me, like, I'm willing to take a chance on that. It sounds really good, and I'm hoping that I really like it. The next one I got was, I think it was on sale for $1.99, or no, it might have been free. I think it was free, which was Cherished Heart by Nalini Singh. I've been wanting to try out some of Nalini Singh's like contemporary books for a while, but they're usually not super cheap on Kindle. But when I saw this one pop up, I think it was on Instagram I saw it pop up, I knew I wanted to check it out. I have not read it yet, but I'm hoping it's good. Like I said, I know she's really well known for her paranormal or like urban fantasy type books, but a couple people I know and kind of like trust their opinion do like her contemporaries, so I'm having high hopes for it. I also bought Queen Move by Kennedy Ryan. You guys, if you watched the last couple videos, know that I am completely in love with her All the King's Men duet, which was the first book was The Kingmaker. So good, one of my favorites of the year, and Queen Move is kind of like the next book in that. Like there's the duet, and then that one's kind of like a standalone with it. I have had it for about a week now, but I'm kind of just giving myself a little break between the two, not because I don't think it's gonna be good, just because Kennedy Ryan always knows how to like pack the emotions into her books, and I just wanted to give myself a little break before I dive back in because I know I'm gonna like it. The last book I bought was Whiteout by Adriana Anders. Is that right? Yeah, Adriana Anders. This book was on sale. I saw it on Instagram. I think it was $1.99, so check and see if it's still on sale. I'm not positive, but I've kind of had my eye on this one for a while. It's a romantic suspense, and I think it takes place in Alaska, or at least it takes place somewhere very cold based on this cover. But I kind of am dipping my toe into romantic suspense. I've read a few and really liked them, as long as they're not too scary, because I am the biggest scaredy cat in the world. So this one sounded really more like adventure-y scary than like I'm going to die scary, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna hopefully give this one a try, but I'm really loving books set in like cold destinations. I think it's because it's so hot right now. I just want to be anywhere else. So next are two books that I actually have out from my library through Libby. I'm trying to really use Libby more often for ebooks because I felt like I really got out of the habit, and they have some really good options. So the first one I have out is Dear Haiti, Love Elaine. This one I read the synopsis for because I love the cover so much. I just thought it was such a pretty cover. And this book is about, so I'm reading this one currently and I'm at like 50%, so I've got a pretty good idea what it's about. And this one is about Elaine, who is a high school student, so it's a YA book, and it's kind of like a coming of age story. Elaine is very smart, very sassy, very dramatic, and sometimes gets herself in a little bit too much trouble for being so smart, if you know what I mean. Like she gets herself into some situations. But due to some circumstances, she has to, so her family is from Haiti. Her mom and her dad both grew up in Haiti, but she has never been, just kind of heard all these stories. But due to circumstances, she has to go to Haiti as kind of like a volunteer for a certain amount of time. And there she kind of starts finding more about her family, kind of the stories, maybe some of the things that weren't so good that happened in her family's past. And it's really interesting so far. I'm really, really liking it. I love Elaine. Her mom is this like analyst, like political analyst on TV, very well known, very strong woman. And then her dad is a psychologist. And I'm loving her family. It's told in a lot of like letters and like emails and texts and things like that, with also like regular writing. It's just really good so far. I'm really liking it so far. Right now I got to the part where she's in Haiti, and I just think that stories like this where you kind of dive into family stories and history, it's really interesting because you always find out something is not exactly how maybe you thought it was. So I'll report back, but so far it's really good. And then the other book I have out from the library is Brightly Burning by Alexa Dawn. This is a YA like fantasy romance slash sci-fi. I know it takes place in space. I know that Avery read this a couple of years ago and really liked it, and I just know it's like a spacey romance with a pretty strong romance, and I was just really in the mood for like a YA fantasy book, so I decided to check it out, and I'm hoping to get to it really soon because it sounds really good. So lastly, I'm going to tell you the books I have out from KU or Kindle Unlimited right now. I usually, like right now, I think I have 9 or 10 out from there. I tend to put them on there. I cannot promise you that I will read all of them, but I am hoping to get to at least most of them, and I have read 1 or 2 already, so that's good. So the first one I have is Love in Due Time by L.B. Dunbar. This is one of the Smarty Pants romances that is under the publication of like Penny Reed, because it takes place in the Winston Brothers universe. This one, there's so many of them out right now that I want to read, but this one I went ahead and put on because it takes place in like the library. Like our main character is a librarian, and our hero is like this tough like motorcycle writer. I don't know. It sounds like very opposites attract, and I believe it's a second chance romance. Like I think they had a thing like one night, and then she hasn't seen him for like 10 years or something. So it sounds really good, and I'm really like excited to try it. Next one I have is An Earl for Edith by Tammy Lee Bird. So this is a historical romance, and I don't know, this one I was reading through, I think I saw it on Goodreads, and it sounded great, so I looked it up. It was in KU, and I've been trying to find some more new like underrated historical romance authors that I haven't read before, because there are so many. I'm actually gonna have a video coming out about that soon, about some like lesser known authors, and this one just sounded really good, so I decided to give it a chance. Next one I have is Her Wolf by Fiona Davenport. This is like a novella in her like paranormal shifter series. I already read this one. It was good. It was very short, very like fated mates. It's kind of exactly what you get when you read the blurb, so I can't complain about it, but I did read that one already. Next one I have is In the Dark with the Duke by Christy Caldwell. This is book 2 in her, is it like London Underground or something like that? Is that what they're called? I read the first one last month and really, really enjoyed it. Christy Caldwell is always fantastic at writing. She's someone, again, I think more people should like try out for historical romances, and the series is definitely about like the grittier side, because the heroes are all somehow involved in like the underground of London. So I'm really excited to read this one, and the cover is really pretty. Next one I have is Where the Lost Wander by Amy Harmon. Is that right? Yeah, Amy Harmon. So I have seen this one all over. I know that, was it Shelby, I think, who was doing like that was their book club pick from Shelby Taggart Reads. I think that's where I saw it. But I've really enjoyed Amy Harmon's writing. It's always very emotional. And this one, I believe, is based within the cover. It's about like, I don't know if it's the Oregon Trail, but it's like people heading west back, you know, in the like, I think it's the 1800s, maybe 1700s. That's just a time period and a time that I don't really know much about, or I haven't really read a romance about. So I was kind of intrigued to try that. It's gonna be a little different. Next one I have is Bound by Love by Cora Riley. This is another book that's in her series that I said I was reading. I don't know if I'm gonna read this one, because I believe the reason I downloaded it is because it's the continuation of Luca and Arya's story, but it's like book 6. So technically there's like 2 books in the middle, but I don't really want to read them. So I'm currently trying to figure out if I can skip to their last book, or if I need to like read the other one. So I'm not completely positive I'm going to read that one yet. Then I have Focused by Carla Sorensen. This is a football romance, and I really enjoyed Carla Sorensen's Washington Wolves series, which is another football romance. And I think this is kind of like a spin-off of that, but not technically in the series. So I was really excited to read that. I've heard pretty good things about it too, and I really like Carla Sorensen's writing. And the last one I have is Stone Hearts by Amber Kelly. So I read the first one. I can't remember the title of it at the moment, but I'll put up the cover of the first and the second one because I loved the first one so much. I read it, I think, at the beginning of the year, and again, it was an author I really didn't know much about, and this is the second book in that series that you meet like the main character in the first book. So I want to get to that one eventually, but it's like, I think, a small town romance, and I believe it's about it was the friend that we met who had a little boy. So I'm excited for that. All right guys, those are all the books that I've recently purchased or borrowed from various locations on my Kindle. Let me know if any of these sound good, or if you found any other really good Kindle deals. Let me know, because I'm all about a good deal on the Kindle. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.